I'll be 75 years old next year. I'm still working on this shit. Still dredging it out from stuff that happened that I had no part in, but yet it's part of who I am right now.
It's like the stories that are running through my head about people, people of color, that are like, where the fuck did that come from? This feels like a graphic sort of heart shriveling thing that we're doing, right? The collectively, I think about us like as white men collectively, that we're breaking off a piece of our own capacity to be fully human.
So then one day, we were having a family picnic at some lake in Florida, some park, and we're like, there's a couple generations, my grandmother and then like some other cousin-y people cooking out, some picnic table, and there's the lake, and then there's black folks down by the lake fishing. And I'm 5 maybe, 6 maybe, and I go down to the lake and I throw something in the water, like a stick or a rock. And this like maybe 12-year-old black girl jumped up and just came running after me for scaring the fish away. Right, and I was terrified, and I ran back to where the family was, and she stopped, of course, like 50 feet away, and shaking her fist or whatever, and then my grandmother said, "You scared of that little N-word girl?" ?
There's a way that, back to what you said earlier, Gregory, there's a way that, in my experience, black men, Latino men in particular, can connect with each other emotionally, right? Can connect with each other in a brotherly way that I never had with other white men. That I never was able to share emotions or be open or be vulnerable, and so there's just these generations where white dudes are just locked up and frozen, these like frozen little, snowmen kind of walking through the world. And so for me, that's the work, is being able to really be able to look at myself in the mirror and still see the places where sometimes I hate myself and sometimes I hate other white men. I feel like at this point in my life, I am thawing out years and generations of undealt with trauma.
My own experience, again, growing up in a town in Michigan, the segregation was just normal. That's the way it was. There was no sense of it having arisen from anything. But what I later learned, of course, it arose out of a specific policy after World War II of creating housing opportunities for World War II veterans, which my father was one, for specifically white World War II veterans. And that whole program was very explicitly and unashamedly racist, racially created. And nobody talked about it, ever.
That's why it's also important to sit here and do this kind of work, but it's also agonizing, because I don't believe that I can have this sense of my own goodness and my own sense that white people and white men are good with those constant observations happening about what other people are doing and how insensitive people are being and how clueless people are being. It's a very it's exhausting, and it's challenging, and I think it kicks up enormous shame all the time. Shame is one of the biggest themes I think that we'll keep cycling through today.